Hey guys, how's it going? It's Ollie here from CryptoVest.com. It is the 30th of November today, and we're going to be looking at EOS trading against Bitcoin over one-day candles. There's been a lot of FUD and trolling going on today, particularly with the EOS project, because Dan Larimer, its core developer, has come out and sort of suggested on a Reddit post that he may be looking into starting a new token. It's meant to be some new idea of a hypothetical, immutable, non-programmable currency crypto, which sounds a lot like Bitcoin. And already this has attracted a lot of attention from some key Twitter proponents like, Whale Panda and Jameson Lopp, because Dan Larimer has a bit of a history of starting crypto projects, raising a lot of funds to get them going, and then as soon as they really get going and they face a few problems, he kind of leaves and goes on to the next project and kind of has left a little bit of a trail of devastation behind him. Steemit is recently another project that he started and left, and they've had to lay off about 70% of their staff. EOS has only been running its mainnet for the last year alone, and they're having a few difficulties that they're running into, and now he's already looking at leaving this particular project. Bearing in mind, EOS was one of the biggest, if not the biggest ICO ever in terms of the funds it raised. So, it's attracted a lot of comment and criticism, and so the asset was naturally going to suffer a little bit from it, although it's been doing fairly well, especially over one-day candles. As you can see, it was traveling in this pennant pattern that we were looking at for a long time. Typically, any sort of pennant that comes in from the top, and I've done a diagram above to show you, usually anything that comes in from the top consolidates and then breaks and continues downward. These are usually continuation patterns. So if it came in from the bottom, likelihood is it would continue up. Sometimes the patterns do actually reverse, and you see the patterns, you see something like this, you see the actual pattern break over, and then it finds support along this as a throwback, and then from the throwback it actually pushes on. Oh, we've left that behind, but you get the idea. And it kind of does that instead, but you get the idea. So that hasn't happened, obviously. There was a big effort for it to do that, and especially if you zoom in a bit closer, you can see, especially with the 100 simple moving average, you can see that the asset, for the first time since like way back in June, we had a brief break above the 100 SMA on the 6th of November, and then as it started to crash, there was this huge effort. Once we fell out of this pennant, there was a lot of effort to keep it, to try and break back into this pennant. You can see we sort of oscillated. Actually, we were uptrending over the one-day candles. There was some big wicks beneath as bears tried to crash it during the bear market, from the Bitcoin hashing war. But you can see bulls really fought to keep it up. They were unable to break over this new resistance, which previously was the support of this pennant. And then eventually, a couple of days ago, around the 26th, 27th of November, bears just won, and they started to really force the asset down. We broke back below the 100 SMA, and now we've found ourselves almost caught perfectly by this support that we've been looking at for a little while now, which is basically between the, where are we at now, 71,300 sats mark and around, I think it's a 67,000 sats mark. Historically, this is where we found the bottom in August. We also found support here throughout the March recovery, and then as well as far back as December of last year, we hit there as a resistance. So a very key area which we've now found ourselves back into. As you can see, long wicks beneath, fairly suggestive that bulls have been quick to snap up the lows here and are trying to fight to get the asset back onto the top of this support level. If they're successful and as they can continue, then it's likely that we'd like to see the first sort of major resistance for the bulls around this sort of key resistance at 75,800 sats, where it was a support for the asset during the bear market when the bears were able to collapse the price, but bulls were able to snap it back up into this channel. And it was also a key support going through inside the pennant during September time. So it's a key level to break back over. If they find support here, then there's also another sort of key test for the bulls at around 79,200 sats as well that they'll need to break over before we start getting close to that 100 SMA again, and before we can assume this asset is actually breaking bullish. If we look at the RSI and the MACD, you can see that we're actually oversold right now, and EOS has had this massive crash. We're now way out of the channel. There's a good snap up at the moment as bulls are starting to return and trying to, like we're saying, with those long wicks beneath, we can see that bulls are actually trying to prop the asset back up onto its previous support, but we're not quite into the channel yet. And on the MACD, it's a lagging indicator, so it hasn't quite caught up with it yet, but as you can see, the 12 MA is still very far below the 26 MA. We've got a lot of selling candles on the histogram there, so still pretty bearish, but as you can see, there's a little bit of effort right now to prop it back up. So going forward, if the market, obviously Bitcoin has fallen below $4,000. If it continues to fall, then we'll be looking at lower supports, potentially around this kind of region here. I think the 6,200 or 62,950 sats mark looks like a realistic support going down from there. But it's likely that we'll probably try and keep within this range. If bulls were strong enough to keep EOS in this sort of range during that heavy bear market that we had recently, then there's no reason to suggest why they wouldn't be able to keep it within this very strong support region until further news came out that were able to give bulls an opportunity to break through. So looking kind of, it's looking like we'll try and find support here in the meantime. If not, we'll oscillate within here, and then these are the two sort of targets going forward. So yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Let me know if you're bullish or bearish. Let me know if you think Dan Larimer's hypothetical decision to go off with a new token sometime soon is enough to cause this FUD in the market, or whether you think it's just another opportunity for people to slay EOS. But yeah, I'd love to hear your opinions on it. Please drop us a comment in the section below if you have a request as well. We'd love to do those as well for you guys. And yeah, please like and subscribe to the channel and check out the full tea at cryptovest.com. Thank you.